The mission begins. The stars outside the spaceship looked cold and endless. Far from Earth, the ship floated in silence. Inside, lights glowed softly. Machines clicked. Data moved across glowing screens. Zura stood still in front of the mission panel. She was not human. Her skin was silver blue, smooth like glass. Her eyes were large and violet without emotion. Like all members of her species, she had been trained not to feel. Mission file uploaded. The ship's voice said. Zura blinked. The screen showed the name of the target, Human 8342. Observe and report. A picture appeared. A human male, young, smiling. Smiling? Zura tilted her head. What strange behavior. Her people had no use for smiling. It was a waste of energy. Humans were confusing. You are to blend in. No contact unless required. The voice continued. Remember, emotions are dangerous. Do not feel. Do not trust. Zura nodded once. She understood. Earth was full of emotion, color, sound, movement. It was a noisy, illogical world. Her job was simple. Study the human, collect data, and return. Nothing more. Her ship landed quietly in a forest outside the city, invisible to human eyes. Zura stepped onto the earth. The ground felt soft under her feet. Wind touched her face. Strange birds made strange sounds in the trees. Everything smelled alive. Her body changed shape as she walked. Now she looked like a human girl, normal clothes, normal face. Only her eyes stayed violet. She couldn't change those. Zura entered the city. So many people. Laughing, talking, running, singing. She walked slowly, scanning each face, matching it with the image from the file. Then she saw him. Target 8342. He was standing outside a shop, helping an old woman carry her bags. He smiled. Again. Zura stared. Why did he waste energy on this? What was the point? He turned suddenly as if he felt her gaze. Their eyes met. Zura quickly looked away. She didn't speak, just followed from a distance. For the next few days, Zura watched him. He went to school, helped others, joked with friends. He was always moving, always smiling. Strange. She sat alone at the back of his classroom, pretending to be a student. He didn't talk to her. Not at first, but sometimes he looked at her. Puzzled, one afternoon he dropped a book near her desk. Hey, he said, bending down. You're new, right? She said nothing. He smiled. Quiet type, huh? That's cool. He walked away. Zura felt something, a soft pull in her chest. Not pain, not fear, something else. She didn't like it. That night she sent a report to her ship. Short, cold, subject 8342. Normal behavior, smiles too much. She paused, then added, continue observation. On the fifth day, something changed. It was raining. The sky was dark. Students were running for shelter. Zura stood still in the rain, watching. He saw her from across the street. Without a word, he ran to her and held out his jacket. You'll get sick, he said. Take this. Zura blinked. No one had ever offered her anything. Not on her planet, not ever. Her hands moved slowly. She touched the jacket. It was warm. His fingers brushed hers for just a second. Something sharp and warm shot through her chest. You okay? He asked. She looked at him. His eyes were kind. Not afraid. Not fake. Just real. Yes, she said softly. Her first word, on Earth. He grinned. Cool. I'm Jake, by the way. Zura. He nodded. See you around, Zura. He walked away. Zura stood in the rain, holding the jacket. Her fingers were shaking. Her ship sent a message. Emotion detected. Warning level 1. Zura didn't reply. She looked up at the sky. The rain touched her skin, and for the first time, she didn't feel cold. Observation turns into curiosity. The human boy's jacket still hung in Zura's closet. She stared at it often. though she didn't understand why. On her planet, gifts were forbidden. Emotions were poison. Contact was dangerous. But now, every time she looked at that jacket, she felt something strange, something warm, and she hated it. In the classroom, Jake sat near the window, humming a tune. Light from the sun fell on his face. He looked calm, happy, completely unaware that the girl sitting behind him wasn't human. Zura watched him quietly. Not just for data now. She watched because she wanted to. Every smile, every laugh, every time he helped someone without being asked. She recorded it all. Not in her ship's log, but in her memory. Her species had sent her to observe a creature of chaos. But what she saw was beauty, light, something alive, and it was starting to change her. That evening she followed him again, always from a distance, always in silence. Jake walked through the park, greeting strangers, waving at dogs, laughing at something on his phone. Suddenly he stopped. His head turned. His eyes searched the trees. "I know you're there," he said, voice steady. Zura froze. "How? Did he know you've been watching me, haven't you?" He wasn't afraid, just curious. Zura stayed behind the tree. Silent. "Look, I'm not mad," he said, taking a few steps closer. "But it's kind of weird." His tone was gentle, almost amused. "You don't have to hide," he said. "If you want to talk to me, just do it." His words echoed in her ears. You don't have to hide. But hiding was all she knew. Suddenly, her communicator buzzed. Priority alert. Unauthorized emotional activity detected. Return to ship for cleansing. She ignored it. When she looked up again, Jake was gone. At night, Zura couldn't sleep, not because of the alert, not because of fear, but because of the way he looked at her, like he truly saw her. And he wasn't afraid. Next day, something even stranger happened. During lunch break, Jake walked straight to her table. Students stared. Whispers floated. He sat down. "Hi again," he said, smiling. Zura blinked. "Why are you talking to me?" "Because you look lonely," he said. "I'm not lonely." "Yeah, maybe," he shrugged. "But you look like you carry the whole universe in your eyes." Zura paused. Her heart rate increased. What did that mean? What kind of logic was that? He pulled out a small round object and placed it on the table. "Here. It's a music player. Old school. But it still works." "Why?" "Because I think you need music," he said. "Everyone does." "What does it do?" He pressed play. A soft melody filled the space between them. Gentle notes like wind moving through stars. Zura felt lighter. "Your people don't." "Listen to music?" he asked. "My people don't feel things." "That sounds horrible." Zura looked away. "It keeps us safe." "From what?" "From getting hurt." Jake nodded slowly. "Yeah, feelings can hurt, but they also make life worth living." Her communicator buzzed again. She turned it off. "Thank you," she said softly. He smiled. "You're welcome." That night, Zura didn't send a report. Her ship sent another message. Final warning. Emotional. Contamination confirmed, return immediately. But she didn't. Instead, she played the music again and watched the stars from her window. For the first time, she wondered, maybe her people were wrong. Maybe emotions weren't weakness. Maybe they were strength. 2 days later, things got worse. A small drone from her ship landed near her hiding spot in the forest. It projected a message in the air. Zura 19. Your connection with subject 8342 is unauthorized. You are in violation of the prime code. Cease contact or face erasure. Erasure. The word sent chills down her spine. Erasure didn't just mean death. It meant she would be forgotten, her memories wiped, her identity erased, as if she never existed. But when she closed her eyes, she didn't see her home planet. She saw Jake's smile, his kindness, his music. And suddenly, she didn't want to go back. At school, she saw him again. He waved. She didn't respond. She couldn't. Not yet. Not until she made a choice. But fate didn't wait. That evening, Jake was walking alone near the forest, and the drone returned. It had detected him. It floated above his head, scanning. Danger alert. Zura saw it from a distance. No, not him. She ran, faster than any human, faster than her body could handle. "Get down," she shouted for the first time using her real voice. Jake turned, shocked. The drone fired a warning beam. Zura leaped between him and the blast. The beam hit her arm. She screamed. Her disguise flickered. For half a second, just half a second, her true alien form shone through. Jake saw her and he didn't run. He didn't scream. He just whispered, "I knew it." And then, he caught her as she fell. Zura's voice was weak. "You need to go. They'll come for you too." "Not without you," he said. "You don't understand," she said, breathing hard. "This isn't just about spying anymore. They'll erase me for this." "Then let's run," he said. "Together." Zura looked into his eyes. For the first time, someone wanted to protect her, and she wasn't ready for that, but part of her wanted it more than anything. The drone recharged, preparing a second shot. Jake grabbed her hand. "We don't have much time." Zura stood. This was no longer an observation. This was a choice, and her time was running out. The offer the wound on Zura's arm had healed quickly, faster than any human injury could. Her alien cells had already started repairing before Jake even noticed the blood, but the pain was still there, not in her body, in her heart. Zura sat by the window of an empty building. She hadn't gone back to the ship. She hadn't returned to her hiding pod in the woods. It wasn't safe anymore. Not for her, not for him. Her communicator was silent now. Her people had stopped sending warnings. They were watching her, waiting for her to make one final mistake, one that would let them erase her without guilt. And she was close to it, because she kept thinking about Jake. He had seen her real form, and, yet, he didn't run. He didn't scream or call for help. He just held her hand and said, "Let's run." Zura didn't understand him. How could he trust her? Why didn't he fear her? The next day, Jake waited for her near the old bridge at the edge of town. She had asked him to come. He didn't hesitate. The sun was going down. The sky was soft with orange and gold. The air was quiet, heavy with unspoken words. Zura stepped out from the trees. She was wearing her human form again. But her eyes still glowed faint violet. He smiled when he saw her. She didn't smile back. "You're in danger," she said. "I figured," Jake replied. "Still came anyway." "You shouldn't have. I didn't want you to face it alone." Zura looked away. "You're strange. You're not the first person to tell me that." She stared at him, confused. "I'm not a person. Not like you." He stepped closer. "You bled to protect me. I don't care what planet you're from. That's more human than most humans." Silence hung between them. Zura finally spoke. "They'll come for me. And for you. If you stay near me, then let's leave," he said, calm and serious. She blinked. "Leave? I don't mean just hide, I mean go. Disappear. Together. Somewhere they can't find us." Her heart beat faster. "You would give up your world for me?" she asked, voice barely a whisper. "No," he said. "I'd give up a world that doesn't feel like mine. For someone who does." Zura didn't answer. Her mind was spinning. Logic screamed at her. Her mission, her orders, her training. It all told her to step back, but her heart was moving toward him. "You don't know what you're offering," she said. "Then tell me," he said. "Tell me the truth, all of it." Zura hesitated. Then she began to speak. She told him about her world. Cold, silent. No music, no touch, no emotion. She told him about the mission, the file, how she had been sent just to observe, collect data, and return. She told him about the warnings, the threats, the possibility of erasure, and when she finished, she looked at him, waiting for the fear, but it never came. He just said, "You don't belong to them anymore." Later that night, they sat by a fire deep in the forest, away from all signals, away from her people's eyes. The stars above them were quiet witnesses. Zura looked up. "On my planet," she said softly, "we were taught that emotions are viruses. They infect the mind. They destroy logic. They make us weak." Jake tossed a twig into the fire. "And what do you believe now?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she looked at him and asked, "Why did you help me? Back then, with the jacket, you didn't know me. You still don't." Jake smiled. "Maybe I saw something in you." "What?" "Someone pretending to be cold, but actually burning inside." Zura felt her face heat up, a blush, her first real one, and she hated how much she liked it. Suddenly a sound cut through the night, a soft hum, then a bright blue light from above. Zura stood up quickly. "No," she whispered. "They found us." A small scout drone hovered in the air, scanning the area. "Run," she said, pulling Jake behind a rock. "No," he whispered. "We said we'd run together, not hide." She looked at him, and then made a decision. She stepped out into the open. Arms up, face calm. "Drone Unit 7, she said loudly in her alien tongue. "I surrender." The drone paused, scanning her. Zura raised her voice again. "But he is not part of this. Leave him." The drone responded with a sharp tone. "Directive confirmed. Traitor located. Emotional bond detected. Species contamination level 89%. Action: memory erase and extraction." Jake stepped beside her. "What does that mean?" Zura's voice trembled. "They're going to wipe your memory and take me." "They won't," he said, and before she could stop him, he ran toward the drone, pulled out a rock, and smashed the signal module. The drone sparked, alarmed, and then dropped dead to the ground. Zura ran to him. "You didn't have to." "Yes, I did," he said, breathless. "I told you, I'm not leaving you behind." Zura stared at him. This wasn't part of any plan. This wasn't logical, but it was powerful. And it was real. She touched his hand and said, "Then let's run." As they disappeared into the woods, deeper than ever before, a quiet message echoed in the ruined drone's broken speaker. "Unit destroyed. Emergency protocol activated. Full retrieval squad incoming." They were out of time, and Zura knew. This was only the beginning, caught between two worlds. The night was no longer quiet. Deep in the forest, under a sky full of cold stars, Zura and Jake ran between shadows. Branches scratched their arms. Mud clung to their boots. But neither stopped. Behind them, the wrecked drone still blinked. Broken but not useless. It had sent a signal before it died. And now, something was coming. Zura's mind raced as fast as her feet. She knew what her people would send. Not a warning this time. Not a message. A retrieval squad. They weren't coming to talk. They were coming to erase. Finally, they stopped by a stream. Water trickled through rocks. Trees stood like guards in the dark. Zura bent down, breathing hard. "We can't keep running," Jake said between gasps. "We have to," she replied. "They will find us." "Then let them come." She looked at him sharply. "No, Jake, you don't understand. They don't just arrest, they don't ask questions, they clean, erase, they wipe minds and delete people." Jake stared at her. "And they'll do that to you too," she whispered. He moved closer. "Then we fight." Zura shook her head. "You're human. They think you're weak. Maybe that's what they're wrong about." A wind passed through the trees. Cold. Sharp. Zura stood slowly. Her communicator, once silent, now lit up again. But the voice wasn't like before. This time, it was her commander. His voice was deep, cold, robotic. "Zura 19, you have broken the prime code. You are emotionally infected. You will be returned to origin for correction. Surrender peacefully. She replied without fear. I am not infected. I am awake. There was silence. Then, his voice changed. Darker now. You have 1 hour to return, or we retrieve you by force. The human will not survive it. The signal ended. Zura stared at the water. Her reflection shimmered in it, half human, half alien, half lost, half free. She didn't know who she was anymore, but she knew one thing. She didn't want to go back. What will you do? Jake asked quietly. She didn't answer, because she didn't. No, they built a small fire again. Sat close, and for a moment, the war faded. Zura looked at him. I was born in a glass room, she said. No windows, no sound, no warmth. We were raised by machines, trained by code. We never saw our parents. Jake was silent. Our emotions were tested like viruses. If someone cried, they were taken. If someone smiled, they were punished. No one ever asked how we felt. Only what we could do. Her voice trembled. Just a little. I never knew what it meant to laugh. Until I saw you. He reached out, held her hand. It wasn't romantic. It was real, and that was more powerful than anything. The trees rustled. A deep hum filled the air. Zura stood instantly. They're here, above them. The sky glowed faint blue. 3 small crafts hovered between the clouds, invisible to human satellites. One dropped lower and landed. Metal legs, smooth silver, light scanning the ground. From inside, 3 figures stepped out. Not machines. Not soldiers, but emotionless shadows in skin-tight black suits. Her kind. Zura grabbed Jake's hand. Run. But he didn't move. No, he said. You've been running your whole life. It's time to stand. The 3 aliens approached slowly. The leader raised his hand. Zura 19, he said. Come, with us, or the human dies. He has nothing to do with this, she said. He touched you. He infected you. He is the virus. Jake clenched his fists. You really don't understand us at all, do you? The alien turned to him. We understand enough. Emotion is weakness. Connection is error. And you are both contaminated. He lifted a small device. Bright light gathered in his palm. Weapon? No, Zura shouted. And something inside her broke. Her skin began to glow. Not from fear, not from alien tech, but from pure rage. Her kind had never seen it before. An emotional reaction powerful enough to change form. Her hair turned white. Her eyes blazed violet like a sun. She stepped between Jake and the blast and raised her hand. The energy beam fired and stopped. Mid-air, held by her, everyone froze. Even Jake. You think feelings are weakness, she said, voice shaking the trees, but they're power. They're fuel. And I finally understand that. She turned the blast in her hand and threw it back. It hit the commander. He flew backward. The other 2 aliens ran. Zura fell to her knees, gasping. Jake caught her. What was that? He asked. Something they feared, she whispered. The ship above retreated. No more blasts, no more orders, just silence. And stars. Later, as dawn broke over the horizon, Zura sat beside Jake, watching the sun rise. Her communicator was gone, her mission file deleted. She was no longer Zura. 19. What now? Jake asked softly. She didn't answer, but she smiled, her first real smile. Human smile far above on the alien mothership, another voice spoke. Subject Zura 19 has activated emotional evolution. What do we do now? Asked an officer. We watch, the commander said. And we prepare, because now, she is more dangerous than we ever imagined. The truth revealed, the world was waking up. Sunlight moved across the sky like slow fire, warming the earth 1 tree at a time. But deep in a quiet valley, away from cities and screens, Two people sat beside a stream, one human, one not. Zura's eyes were closed, but her thoughts were loud, too loud. She could still feel the power in her body, the moment she had caught the energy blast in the air, the way it had obeyed her, how the sky had pulsed with her voice. That wasn't part of her training. Her people never taught her what to do when feelings unlocked more than pain. They never warned her that emotions weren't weakness. They were evolution, and now she was something they couldn't control, something new. Jake broke the silence. "You saved us." She opened her eyes. "No," she said softly. "I changed us." He didn't speak. He could see it in her. She was different now, not just alien, not just curious. She was glowing, literally. Her skin shimmered faintly, like it carried stars beneath the surface. And her eyes? They were no longer violet. They were fire. "They won't stop," she said. "They'll send more. Or worse." "Then we fight again," he said. "No. You fight once. I've been fighting my whole life." She stood, stepping into the sun. It's time they see the truth. That afternoon they entered the town. Zura had changed her form, still human-looking but no longer hiding. She walked beside Jake, hand in hand, not afraid. People turned as they passed. Some whispered, others stared, and one woman gasped, "Isn't she that quiet girl? From school?" Zura didn't look away this time. She looked back and smiled, but the peace didn't last. As they reached the center of town, a sharp sound pierced the air. A whistle. Then, "Freeze!" Two men in black suits rushed forward. Not aliens. Humans, government agents. They held scanners. One of them aimed it at Zura. It beeped wildly. "Code red," the agent said into a comm. "Non-human confirmed. We've got a public contact." Jake stepped in front of her. "Leave her alone." "Move aside, kid," the agent snapped. "This is national security." Zura stepped forward. Calm. "I'm not a threat," she said. "Then why's your energy reading higher than a fighter jet?" the other agent said. People gathered. Phones came out. Someone was recording. The agent pointed a small device at her again. "Where are you from? What's your mission? How long have you been here?" Zura looked around. Dozens of eyes, all watching. Fear, curiosity, some wonder. It was time. "My name is Zura," she said. "I came here to observe. I wasn't supposed to feel anything. I wasn't supposed to speak. But then, something changed." She looked at Jake. "I met him." Gasps from the crowd. The agent stared. "You're in violation of planetary laws." One muttered. "You're under arrest." But Zura didn't move. "I didn't come to fight, I came to understand. And now I understand more than you ever could." The agent reached for cuffs. Bad move. In a blink, energy flared around her, not violent, not loud, just truth. A wave of light rippled from her body, gentle but powerful enough to knock both agents backward without a touch. Gasps turned to screams. Phones captured everything. "Oh my God, did you see that? She's glowing. Is she alien royalty? Or something?" Far above Earth on her people's ship, alarms began to ring. Screens showed footage being shared across human networks. Thousands of shares. Millions of views. The secret was out. "Commander," an officer said. "We've lost. Cover." "The humans know." The commander stared at Zura's glowing form on the screen. "She's not one of us anymore," he said. "Should we terminate?" A pause. "No," the commander said. "Not yet." Back on Earth, Zura took Jake's hand. Again. Her voice was calm but strong. "You asked me what comes next," she said. "Yeah," he whispered. "We stop hiding." They walked past the stunned crowd. The town square was filled with silence, not because of fear, but because they didn't know what to believe. An alien who protected a human, an alien who spoke like them, an alien Who loved? As night came, Zura and Jake sat on the roof of his house. She looked at the stars, not with longing, but with choice. I think they'll try to erase me still, she said. Then they'll have to go through me first, Jake said. She smiled. You're so human, she teased. You say that like it's a bad thing. She turned her head. No, she whispered. It's the best thing I've ever seen. And for the first time in her life, she leaned forward and kissed him. In the sky above, invisible to human eyes, 5 alien ships waited, not for orders, but for war. The commander's voice echoed across the fleet. Subject Zura has crossed the threshold. She has chosen them. Then let's show her what that choice costs. Escape or obey? The sky was no longer safe. From the moment Zura revealed herself, everything changed. News. Reporters called her the girl from the stars. Some said she was a hero. Others said she was a threat. But no one was ready for what came next. 3 nights after the town square incident, the stars began to move. People looked up and saw lights blinking in patterns they didn't understand. Governments launched drones. Satellites zoomed in. What they found shocked the world. 5 alien ships. Not small, not peaceful. They hovered above the clouds like silent giants, waiting, watching. And then, one message was sent down to Earth, not to the leaders, not to the armies, but to Zura. She stood in an empty field with Jake beside her. The message played in her mind like a cold whisper. You were warned. You were given time. Now you must choose. Return and be erased. Or stay and let your human world burn. She dropped to her knees, shaking. Not from fear, but from fury. They're going to hurt people, she said. Innocent people. Because of me. Jake stepped forward. Then we stop them. I can't, she whispered. They're stronger. Older. Smarter. But you're different, he said. She looked at him. You have something they've never had, he continued. You feel. They don't understand that. They fear it. Zura stood slowly. The sky above flashed. A warning beam shot down into the ocean. Miles away, a wave exploded into the air. Not a full attack, just a threat. But it was loud enough for every nation to panic. Sirens filled cities. Planes launched into the clouds. War was one breath away. We need to run, Jake said. But Zura shook her head. No, more running. She placed her hand on the ground, closed her eyes, and sent a message. Not to the alien ships, but to the people of Earth. Every phone buzzed, every screen glitched. Then her face appeared, not glowing, not threatening, just real. My name is Zura. I was sent here to observe, not to feel, not to live. But I did. I met someone human, and through him I saw what my people fear the most. Emotion, kindness, freedom. They will come, they may attack, but not because I'm dangerous. Because you are. Because the moment I felt something, I stopped being theirs and started becoming yours. So now I ask you this. If I stay, will you fight with me? The message ended and the world went silent. Then millions replied, not with words, but with action, protests, banners. Stay Zura messages of hope. You are one of us now. She's not a weapon, she's proof. Governments, confused but watching, decided to wait. No missiles were launched. No bombs were dropped, because for the first time in human history, people were standing with an alien. In the clouds, the alien commander's voice cracked with rage. They accept her. Then they are infected too. Deploy the purge. Zura felt the shift. Her hands shook. They're not going to hold back anymore, she whispered. Then we won't either, Jake said, grabbing her hand. She turned to him, eyes glowing brighter than ever. If I do this, I might not survive. Then we fight together. Or not at all. The first ship lowered, black and sleek. It moved like a blade through the clouds. Energy weapons charged. Zura stood between it and the town, alone, until dozens of humans stepped out behind her. Not soldiers, not superheroes, just people. Teachers, students, mothers, farmers holding lights, phones, signs. "You're not alone," someone shouted. Zura's chest tightened, and suddenly, she rose, not by machine, not by force, by will. Her body lifted into the air, glowing with emotion. The alien ship fired a warning blast. But Zura caught it, again. This time, she didn't throw it back. She absorbed it, and her body changed, no longer silver, no longer human. Something new. Energy wings unfolded behind her. Her voice echoed across the sky, no longer just sound, but feeling. "You fear emotions, but they make me strong. You erased others, but I remember. You tried to erase me. Now I erase your fear." She raised her hand, and the skies lit up, not with fire, with memory. Zura sent images into the alien minds: Jake's laughter, a child hugging her mother, people dancing in the rain. The aliens staggered. They had never felt this before. They didn't know how to process it. Zura pressed harder until one ship cracked, then another. Their systems glitched. Emotion had entered their perfect machines, and they were breaking. In space, the commander screamed, "Shut it down, shut it!" Too late. Zura's wave of memory crashed into them like a storm. And then, silence. The ships turned and disappeared, not destroyed, not defeated, but changed, forced to feel and unable to face it. Zura dropped to the ground. Her wings vanished. Jake caught her. "You did it," he whispered. She looked at him. Tears, real, human tears, in her eyes. "No," she said. "We did the new mission." The world was never the same after that night. The sky once feared had become quiet again. No alien ships, no bombs, no fire, only stars and memory. Zura had stood between destruction and hope, and she had chosen the impossible. To feel, to protect, to become more than what she was built for. And in doing so, she didn't just save Jake. She changed the future of two species. But now she had to face the hardest question of all. Who was she now? 3 days passed. No alien messages. No energy readings. No threats. Human scientists searched the skies. Governments debated in secret rooms. But the people didn't wait. They built statues, created songs, painted murals. In every corner of the world, her name spread. Zura. The girl who felt. But Zura herself, she was hiding again, not out of fear, but out of confusion. Deep in a cave beneath a mountain, she sat alone, her glowing hands dipped in cold water, her face half shadowed by flickering light. Jake found her there. He didn't speak at first, just sat beside her. She finally spoke. "They left, but they'll come back. And when they do?" he asked. "They'll be afraid of what I've become." "You're not dangerous, Zura," Jake said softly. "Aren't I?" she asked. "I defeated 5 warships with feelings." "You didn't destroy them," he reminded. "You made them see, feel, and that's something no weapon could do." She closed her eyes. "I wasn't supposed to feel anything. Maybe that's why you were the only one who could." Silence again. But this time it was peaceful. The next day a message arrived. Not from the alien fleet, not from the government, but from someone unexpected. The Universal Alliance. A hidden interstellar council of planets and species they had been watching, and now they wanted to meet her. "They don't want to erase me?" she asked, surprised. "No," the voice said through the communicator. "They want you to lead." Lead. We've never seen a bridge between two emotional states, between human love and emotionless logic. You are the first of your kind, and possibly the start of a new one. Zura felt something heavy in her chest. This was no longer about just escaping. This was responsibility, a new purpose, a new mission. That night, she and Jake sat on the rooftop again. He held her hand like always. But something had changed. There was distance between them now. Not in space, but in fate. She turned to him. They want me to leave Earth. His hand tightened, but he didn't stop her. To lead, yes, to guide a motionless species to feel safely, without war, without fear. He looked at her quietly. So you'll be a teacher, an ambassador, maybe something more, she said. Maybe something not yet born. The stars above flickered like they were listening. How long will you be gone? He asked. I don't know. His throat tightened. He looked away. But she leaned closer. I want to stay, she said. But that would be selfish. So be selfish, he whispered. She smiled sadly. I already have. I chose you over my mission. I chose emotion over code. I chose love over logic. He smiled back. Then choose one more thing. What? He reached into his pocket and held up a necklace, a small crystal from the cave where she had glowed brightest. Choose to remember me. She took it, pressed it to her chest, and whispered, always. 1 week later, the sky split open again. But this time, no warships fell. A silver pod descended slowly, humming with peace. The ground glowed gently beneath it. Zura stood at the edge of the field, her body wrapped in silver light, her eyes still glowing but softer now. Jake stood beside her. Are you ready? He asked. No, she said. Me neither. They laughed. Quietly, sadly, she turned to him one last time and kissed him like the stars would stop burning after. Then she stepped into the ship. The door closed and the pod rose, slowly, gently, into the sky. People below watched in silence, not with fear, but with pride. They weren't losing someone. They were sharing someone with the stars. Days later, the world moved forward. Newspapers called it the day Earth reached out. Children learned about Zura in schools. Scientists built technology using what she left behind. And somewhere, in a quiet town, a boy still wore a crystal around his neck, waiting, believing. Across galaxies, Zura sat in a vast council chamber. Creatures of every shape and kind listened to her speak, but she didn't use words. She used feelings, stories, images. She showed them. Jake's smile, the rain, the jacket, the music player, the first touch, the first laugh, and in that chamber, many beings felt something for the first time. Tears, laughter, understanding, peace. And somewhere far away, in a quiet ship drifting through stars, Zura looked out the window and whispered, "This is my new mission."